And hour one, we usually look local. Hour two, we go national and international and beyond. And in the third hour, we do a deep dive. Today, we are on point with that formula, if you want to call it that. We are going to talk about, well, it's Black Business Month, so we're going to put the spotlight on Black tech businesses with Paris McCoy of Tech Lamert, our partner in tech here at KBLA. And that's hour three. Hour two, we are opening up the phone lines. They're always open, but freestyle phones. And we will take on what's going on nationally and internationally. Right now, though, it's not every other Friday, but he's also our main pinch hitter. He's our main clutch player. That would be Ed Sanders. He is the founder of E.S. Advisors. He's a soccer dad, and he's also a KBLA correspondent. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, Dominique. Good morning, KBLA family. How are you doing today?
I'm blessed. How are you?
Yeah, feeling great, watching the sunrise come up.
Right? Now, that means you go to work too early when you got to watch the sunrise come up. How do you like being characterized as a soccer dad?
You go through, you wear a bunch of titles as you move through life. That's one of them that, I'm real proud of. You get some time to spend with your kids, watching your kids do the things they like. So I love the soccer dad there.
Yeah. Also, theoretically, it means you're the voter that the Democrats should be pursuing, right? They're always talking about the soccer moms. I'm sure they don't mean to leave out the soccer dads.
Well, I hope not. Soccer dads have a lot to say too,
If only you were an independent, declined to state voter who leaned Republican, the Democratic Party would put the world at your feet.
Spend a ton of money to move me over. I love that.
Do I sound bitter?
But it's funny, we talk about that all the time, like where the party spends its money.
Yeah.
And on these campaigns. And, there's two schools of thought. The other school of thought is that you double down on the progressive message. And
of course, that's the Dominique DiPrima school of thought, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But you saw it play out in Michigan this week, right? And so, I tend to agree with you. You double down on progressive bases and turning them out. And, the Michigan Senate primary saw Abdul El Sayed, take the Democratic nomination there. And, just serves as evidence to your theory.
And there was a couple of other progressives, one DSA guy that won in Michigan. And the thing is that the Democratic Party in the main, although James Carville appears to have changed his tune, but in the main, the corporate Dems are still clutching their pearls, including Hakeem Jeffries, who they just seem to be so resistant to going where the momentum is.
Yeah, it's and it centers on the understanding and of what occurred in Gaza over the past few years, and that seems to sit at the core of it. It's not the sole issue because there are a lot of accountable issues that you can look at. What did you call them? The standard Democrat, I forgot what you just called them.
Corporate Dems, the establishment.
Dems, yeah, right. And you watch the corporate Dems and how the needle doesn't move on the issues that are most important to us. And they're seeing a reckoning of that across the country, whether you talk about Mamdani, and DSA taking the seats in the mayor's seat in New York. But you've seen this across, several Democratic strongholds where far more aggressive, far more progressive candidates are coming forward and rallying bases and voter bases to them. So,
I mean, in many times they are doing so with the opposite of support, with the opposition from their own party. I mean, that's what Mamdani faced in New York. It's true, some folks got on late or after he was already elected. But in many cases, they are actually being kneecapped by their own party. This is the part that makes me mad because I feel like we're wasting our resources, wasting the people's resources, trying to take out candidates And the excuse is always, oh, they're not electable in the general election. They only appeal to the base. Blah, blah, blah. But what do you know? Because we keep losing general elections with these corporate Dems. So how do we know what's appealing to the base? I believe that the mainstream of the Democratic Party is out of touch with the people in the Democratic Party.
Yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree with that. That, I mean, look, we were joking about this when Biden first took office, but at that point,
yeah,
the senior leadership of the party was what Biden, Pelosi, a few others that were,
right,
well into
500 years old between the top five or top 10. But yeah, and the thing about it is they were doing a bit of a victory dance because Biden did win, which seemed to support their theory that you need somebody more moderate.
Biden didn't win that. Biden was, to be clear, right? Like he didn't trounce the field. It wasn't that. It was that, the next leader didn't emerge, right? Like, and still hasn't, really
and
hasn't.
Still hasn't. And when is that going to happen? They better hurry up, right?
Yeah. Well, it probably comes this next go round. I would imagine it has to.
You're talking about 2028.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think there's some wisdom to that, Ed, because if we could get someone like Obama, and I don't mean his politics or his look or anything, I'm talking about someone who is skilled, charismatic, and smart, and seemingly comes out of nowhere, so that the Republican Party and all of their foreign bots haven't had time to create this mis and disinformation narrative around that person for years and years and years, like they did with Kamala, like they did with Hillary Clinton, where it's somebody who they haven't smeared for decades, who can surge. I think that would be our ideal scenario. And that ain't Pete Buttigieg, because they've been hammering him for decades, and well, not decades, but at least 8 years.
Just about. Yeah. I mean, listen, in the end game, I think of the candidates, and when I say Biden didn't win it, of the candidates in that primary, nobody rose to the occasion that they captured, the sentiment of not just the party but the country, right? Like they just didn't have it. Their vision, their campaign platforms, I would argue, were sort of copy and paste of the last 30 years of presidential campaign platforms. There really wasn't anything innovative. And if you don't have an innovative solution to our problems as a country, I think this electorate is just going to turn its back on you. And that's kind of what happened in the primary with Biden. And Biden was kind of the default. He's the guy that can beat Trump. All right, let's go for it. But I don't think there was anything innovative, problem solving, that you really thought he was going to be able to address as president.
Yeah.
To be honest. And
well, I mean, really, you're talking about this term. You're not talking about 2020, because he had lots to address then, i.e. getting us out of all the problems that Trump had created around COVID and all that. Right.
Yeah, but it really wasn't just that. Like, COVID hit, and that was the main thing. But, we've been asking and struggling and fighting for a number of different things through the years, whether it's, workforce development or access to stronger education, better health care, all those sorts of things. And it wasn't like those issues were at the forefront of that race. And even through Kamala Harris's race, I would say that part was missing as well. And so there's some solutions and education that has to take place from the electorate standpoint, so we have a clear sort of sense of where the country wants to go on these issues. And a lot of that data is out there, and a lot of sense to it, but you need candidates that can speak to it. It's not
right.
And the party has just lost the ability to just say, okay, here's a Democratic nominee, vote for it. Right,
we're way past that. Ed Sanders is with me. We also have to look at the apparatus of the Democratic Party, and I don't know if you've been tracking. I hope you've been tracking the Destination Crenshaw organizing led by Tavis Smiley. and KBLA. We'll touch on that too. I have an update from yesterday's conversation that is really important that I'll share with you, so you don't want to miss that. All that's coming up only right here.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions. This is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day.
The KBLA 1580 app puts the realest conversations right in your pocket. Stream live wherever you are in the world. No static. No searching the dial. A crystal clear connection 24/7, exactly when you want it. We recommend that you keep automatic updates enabled. Set it and forget it. So the app stays up to date with store requirements, bug fixes, and new features as we roll them out. Download the KBLA 1580 app today and stay plugged into the conversation everyone's having.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-550-9651.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-550-9651. That's 800-550-9651.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Just in case you missed our Procrastination Crenshaw Town Hall.
And we are here on the chocolate side of Los Angeles to simply lift up black dignity, black honor. No spirit of hatred here. We here because we love our people. We love the people of this community. We love the people of every corner of this city. But some of us start on the chocolate side. And so all of the critiques, all of the calls for accountability have nothing to do with ad hominem attacks on any elected official. It has to do with either indifference or incompetence, maybe even corruption. We don't know, but we just want to make sure that everyday people in this community are treated with the dignity that they deserve. That's why we're here.
Holding them accountable. We're KBLA, Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. The Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. Your ancestors' favorite radio station. And your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Right now, we're back to me. We're back to you at 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. So before we dive a little deeper into this Democratic Party politics, because the New York Times had a fascinating article about the meltdowns at the DNC, and I'm thinking maybe we should nominate Ed Sanders to run that organization, but he's kind of busy. But we are, Ed, I'm pretty sure you know, in the middle of dealing with this Destination Crenshaw project, which Tavis has dubbed a procrastination. Crenshaw, and the station recently had a town hall meeting at Bethesda Church here in the Crenshaw corridor, which was packed, jam-packed, that event, and it was really a testament to how many people are suffering from the delays in this construction, and how this is not just a KBLA thing, not just a Tavis Smiley thing. It is a community thing, and people are really, really suffering as a result of these delays. I was on vacation. I was in Costa Rica, actually, and just arriving back, so I did not make it, but it was very full. Pastor Kyron Shorter, also from that church, helped organize that town hall along with KBLA. And he was on this show yesterday as we announced that KBLA has dropped a letter. KBLA and the merchants and stakeholders of the Crenshaw corridor have dropped a letter to City Council President Marquise Harris Dawson in the city of LA with a list of demands, which include transparency and accounting of where the money's gone, a plan to complete the Destination Crenshaw project within 1 year, and there are a number of other demands. It's on our website at KBLA 1580 if you want to look it up. That demand gave the city council president and the city 30 days to respond with a plan and to give answers on all of these demands and questions in the letter. During that conversation that I had with Pastor Kyron Shorter, we got into a back and forth, which was, initiated by me about whether or not this falls to the mayor, given that it was a private project started by Councilmember Marquise Harris Dawson, and some listeners felt that I was implying that Tavis Smiley was blaming the mayor. So to be clear, Tavis Smiley has not blamed the mayor, and if I gave that impression, then I was incorrect. He did say at the town hall that we'd welcome her helping the city council president to figure it out, since he seems to be stuck. He was clear at the town hall, which I did not attend, but he was clear that the mayor is not the target, and that he's been in conversation with her, that he did defend her when it came up in the audience that this is the council president Marquise Harris Dawson's project, and that's where he left it. And he was really clear on that, and that most of the folks in the town hall meeting were very clear on that as well. So I wanted to make a correction. If you had the impression that I was stating that Tavis Smiley was blaming our Mayor Karen Bass, then that was not the impression that I intended to give, and I wanted to make sure to correct that, because that's not the strategy of the radio station, and that is not the intention of the owner of this radio station. I don't know if you want to, add anything as far as the Crenshaw corridor and Destination Crenshaw, Ed Sanders. It's certainly, the town hall is available. You can watch it. It's on our YouTube. But it was packed to the gills, and it's streamed on YouTube. And even though I live here and I work here, and I'm the one that has to walk into the station when it's still dark through a construction site, and all of the, if anyone's, impacted, it's definitely me, and I'm not loving it. Let me be clear. I was also very transparent that I've had a long friendship with Council President Marquise Harris Dawson, so I try to give him, even more grace than one normally would. I'm not loving it. But I did not realize the number of small businesses here in Crenshaw that have been really hurt by this. I knew it was hurting the veterinarian because he was my veterinarian, but I didn't realize how many along this corridor are really, really hurting around this project.
Yeah, look, I think I start with, and I think you encapsulate really what is the issue, right? Like the vision for Destination Crenshaw is a beautiful vision, right? And the idea of remaking the corridor and really making it a cultural hub and sort of planting the flag for the African American community in the heart of LA. I love the vision. And I think, as they've progressed, and certainly there's been some time and challenges relative to the construction. And what you highlight there is, two things. That one, the construction has gone, in an inordinate amount of time. The town hall, I did not see, and I understandably it would be packed, right? Like there are a lot of people that would readily engage relative to the Crenshaw corridor, relative to sort of the flag in the ground from a cultural standpoint. We on the face of it have a lot of pride in Destination Crenshaw, right? Like the vision. I don't think
everyone was clear on that. Everyone said that when it first happened. Everybody was on board. Everybody thought it was a great idea. 6 years later, it's getting kind of rough in these streets.
Yeah, and I think there does need to be more transparency around why that is, because it my hope is that this wouldn't become a blame game, but more a collective, this is the solution that needs to be achieved moment. If it is a matter of funding, then collectively we all need to understand who would be funding it, right? If it's foundational money, if there's an effort that needs to be deployed to raise the money, if it's a
the council president said on this show that it was a money issue. Mm-hmm. He said that on First Things First, and then I talked with his chief of staff subsequently, and they indicated to me that they had raised the money. We have also been told more than one time that they were going to start the following week, and that so far has not occurred. So as far as an update, that I don't have for you, but that's what I have gotten, in person from the council office, heard it myself. So that's what I can verify. And there may be other factors. I know that a couple of the artist pieces were not completed. I'm sure they must be completed by now. And when I toured, I went as part of a group of media, to be clear. LA Focus was there. The Sentinel was there. I believe The Wave was there. We toured it. It was quite beautiful. That was, a year and a half ago. Maybe 2 years ago, actually. But it wasn't finished. And there was a lot of the artwork that wasn't installed. Some of it was that, walkway. I mean, it's going to be a beautiful park. But in the meantime, one of the main demands is a fund to help these businesses that have taken a huge hit, and residents who have, taken hits as well. So I think at the very minimum, this has to be addressed, and I don't think that they should wait 30 days. I feel like we need an answer much sooner than that. Ed Sanders is with me. Why is the Democratic Party falling apart when they seem to have every advantage? Why are they so scared of Democratic Socialists? All that and more when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Mike Island with BIN News Now. An FBI report says active shooter accidents are increasing in the U.S. The FBI says that in 2025 there were 34 total active shooter incidents. The FBI says in 2025 there were 34 total active shooter incidents. Authorities say 2 suspects have been arrested in Peru in connection with the death of an American Airlines flight attendant based in Dallas, Texas. Investigators say Eric Molina disappeared during a layover in Colombia in March, and his body was found several days later. Authorities say the suspects are members of a Colombian gang that targets foreign visitors. A Tennessee death row inmate wants a federal court to allow a private religious confession before his scheduled execution. John Michael Bain and his spiritual advisor filed a lawsuit arguing state prison policies violate their religious rights. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the free iHeartRadio app.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers' off day today comes at a good time. They need one. The Dodgers have lost 6 straight games after losing to the Cubs 7-6 Wednesday night in Chicago. The Cubs swept the 3-game series. The Dodgers are now 4-8 since their hard-headed trip to the White House on July 23rd to celebrate last year's World Series championship with Trump. A lot of folks, most of them Dodgers fans, told them not to go. Now look what's happening. 2 weeks ago, the Dodgers had the best record in Major League Baseball. Today, that distinction belongs to the Milwaukee Brewers. Milwaukee is 2.5 games up on the Dodgers. The best record at the end of the regular season has some value. It gives a team home field advantage throughout the playoffs and World Series. We're 2 months away from the end of the regular season, but the Dodgers need to get things in order. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
What's good, KBLA delegation? I am Miles Lowe, and I'm excited to be joining the weekend lineup right here on KBLA Talk 1580. Join me every Saturday at 12 noon for the Do Better Show, where we get into the world of tech, AI, the creator economy, navigating your mental health through it all, and have conversations with founders to find out how real people are making real money right now. It's not a course, not a subscription. Class is in session every weekend, live on the air. So if you knew better, you do better, right? So let's make a better you. The Do Better Show, every Saturday, 12 noon, and replaying again at 7 p.m. right here on Unapologetically Progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We got a lot to talk.
This November, you'll decide who leads California. So shouldn't you hear directly from the people asking for your vote? Join us for California Voices, a political town hall and ballot forum, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026. Meet candidates running for governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, and other major statewide and local offices, including mayor of Los Angeles, city attorney, and LA County sheriff. Get clear, nonpartisan breakdowns of the propositions on your November ballot, both sides, no spin. And ask your questions directly, in real conversation, face to face. California Voices is brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the Empowerment Congress, giving you the information you need before you vote. Mark your calendar, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026, California Voices. Follow KBLA 1580 for details and download the KBLA 1580 app. Your vote, your voice. Be there.
The KBLA 1580 app puts the realest conversations right in your pocket. Stream live wherever you are in the world. No static. No searching the dial. A crystal clear connection 24/7, exactly when you want it. We recommend that you keep automatic updates enabled. Set it and forget it. So the app stays up to date with store requirements, bug fixes, and new features as we roll them out. Download the KBLA 1580 app today and stay plugged into the conversation everyone's having.
As we go a little something like this.
Talkers Magazine has spoken. Out of every talk radio host in America, Tavis Smiley ranks number 14 on the Heavy 100 list. One of the top 15 most important voices in the nation, right here on KBLA Talk 1580. Unapologetically progressive, unapologetically powerful. Tune in weekdays on the 9s, 9 a.m. to noon or 9 p.m. to midnight. This is your station. This is your voice.
Let's get it on.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
I do thank you, and you're also waking up with Ed Sanders, who is the owner of E.S. Advisors. They do elections, campaigns, and public policy issues, advocacy, and been doing it for quite some time. And Ed Sanders, what is happening with the Democratic Party? First of all, the New York Times is reporting that the whole DNC is in disarray. That, there's financial difficulties. We're being out fundraised by Republicans, which is weird to me considering Trump's approval ratings. And, the wins for Democrats. I mean, the gas prices, so many things that you would think would be ideal, right, in an election year. But yet, according to the New York Times, Democratic Party leaders have now asked vendors not to send bills until after the midterms. So it looks like they have more money on hand than they really do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It is a at this juncture, it's going headed towards the presidentials, right? And how critical I think it is for the Democratic Party to win the next election. If there's any semblance of protecting some of the victories and hallmarks that were made during the last century, labor protections, civil rights protections, if there's really a path to protecting that, it starts with winning that presidential election. Certainly, assuming control of Congress would be great. And you certainly need the Senate in order to get to a place where you can start to hope to make changes to the Supreme Court.
Why is the party having a freak-out meltdown? Why? I mean, I know a lot of people are blaming the DNC chair, this guy Martin. And if that's the case, then why not just kick him to the curb? I don't get it.
But to me, there's operational, right? And I think the New York Times article calls out a couple things, right? Like there's a pointing the finger at the consultants that run campaigns, and you described me as one and my business and such. There is some truth to a consultant industrial complex as it's referenced.
But you're not one of those, because you're not. I mean, I say that because, in my opinion, you're not out of touch like a lot of those folks. A lot of those political consultants are highly educated, white, completely out of touch theorists. They're not on the ground talking to the people.
Yeah, and that's the point, right? Like, ultimately, the candidates that are coming forward have been, sort of rubber stamping a platform, not offering new ideas. Mm-hmm. And that's what's missing in the American process to me, as a theorist, as a consultant industrial complex theorist. I think candidates need to offer more direct solutions, right? And I think what you're seeing is that candidates are being handed a platform, and there isn't any room for choice or options from the platform. The platform governs your candidacy.
Right. They're tap dancing to the Democratic Party's tune rather than creating. And actually, that's a really good point, because part of, I think, what worked for Zohran Mamdani is the fact that he did offer concrete, specific ideas. I'm going to do a public grocery store option. I'm going to go after predatory landlords, and he's doing it. Apparently in Wisconsin next week, we have this Francesca Hong, who's a Democratic socialist, who's the front runner there. And that, that's going to create more freak out if she wins, because the Democratic Party does seem to be afraid of Democratic Socialists. And there was a really interesting article, I think it was in NPR, if I'm not mistaken, that talks about how the Democratic Party is gearing up to spend $15 million, or Democratic Party affiliated, nonprofits are gearing up to spend $15 million to undermine the idea of democratic socialism. Like, not 15. That's crazy to me. Make it make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't. I mean, it's really clear. And, to your point, I think what you're seeing is a movement that, from an apparatus standpoint, it's growing stronger as you find candidates and really a platform that is speaking to, a base of people, and they're hearing it, right? Like, the more and more you see, these races, these high-profile races, and the DSA candidates are winning them. It's not something that you squash; it's something that you take notice of. And I would say, as a Democratic Party, if you're working to subvert that, you've already lost, right? Like the idea that you would spend money to try to counter the DSA as opposed to understanding and incorporating the DSA into the Democratic Party platform just makes zero sense to me.
They've been co-opting, not just DSA as a group, but socialism, democratic socialism. They've been co-opting the ideas into their platforms. I think the reason that the corporate Dems don't benefit more from co-opting those ideas is because they haven't successfully followed through on them. They haven't been able to. I mean, I think that student loan debt forgiveness is an example, because Bernie Sanders is not in the DSA, and a lot of the ideas that he put forth, the mainstream Democratic Party adopted a nerfed version, sort of a declawed version of that policy for their platform, because they're very, very popular. The ones that they're too scared to do so far is Medicare for all, right?
Mm-hmm.
And ranked choice voting, things like that. I don't understand why don't you just champion it? You want to try to get people on the right by cuddling Liz Cheney, spooning Liz Cheney, but there are plenty of people on the right that need health care, and it is a dire situation that is creating existential problems for their families. You probably would have more luck with a DSA platform, well, maybe not the DSA platform word for word, but a democratic socialist based platform than with trying to lean right.
Yeah, I mean, what you speak to is like, ultimately these parties go through this every period of time where
right.
There's just a conflict within the generations and the issues. We've seen it on the Republican Party side. What am I calling it? What was Newt Gingrich's thing when he came in?
The Tea Party?
Yeah. I mean, that was something similar on the conservative side, right?
Yeah, okay.
And, these things, yeah.
Prehistoric MAGA, right.
Right. But, you see these transformations within the parties, and we're just watching it again. And, if I'm sitting here with my bag of popcorn eating and watching it, I'm always curious as to whether or not we actually become a 3-party or 4-party, democracy, because it doesn't look like there's room for both, sort of platforms under the Democratic Party.
Yes, please. Can we do that, please? Can we? Could we? But I don't want to. I am one of those disaffected Democratic Party members, but I don't want to be in a party that doesn't have a snowball's chance either. Like, I need us to be able to win stuff. And
right, exactly.
That's the rub. I mean, third parties in Europe actually win stuff, but part of that is having ranked choice, not having winner take all type scenarios, right? Like we have, that allows for power sharing in some ways.
Yeah, that one's a whole debate. I get it. Maybe it's too new for me to. And maybe I've just reached the age where I'm just stuck in my ways on ranked voting. That probably is the case.
I'm shocked that more people don't really support it, because I get my first choice or I get nothing at all. Like if we did that in marriage, everybody would be divorced. Paul says this is a blue Tea Party movement to take control of the party, and donors and lobbyists are pushing back and threatening to pull funding to combat it. But that is crazy, and I know that's not very articulate of me to keep saying it's crazy, but to me it's illogical, because even Hollywood would do better than this. When everybody wants to see a movie about Superman, they make movies about doggone Superman. You know what I'm saying? They don't say, no, we love Batman. We're going to spend $15 million to undermine Superman. If your base is feeling the democratic socialist platforms, you either have to actually sincerely, robustly adopt those things and then push and make them happen, rather than meekly letting Republicans shut them down, or you have to go ahead and and back those candidates. I mean, to Kamala Harris's credit, I think I got a letter from her. I did get a letter from her, not me personally, but those letters they send out to everybody, trying to raise money for Dr. Abdul al-Sayed the day after his win. So Vice President Harris is not playing around. She's okay. I'm going with where the momentum is. But meanwhile, these centrists within the party, rather than spending $15 million to boost their own candidate or give it to the DNC, which is $2 million in debt, while the Republican National Committee has $130 million in its bank account. No, we're going to spend it to undermine the Democratic Socialists of America. Cue the music for the circular firing squad.
Yeah, but let me stay in the Hollywood theme there for a second, and just offer a counter. What's the old Godfather poster? Power isn't given, it's taken, or something like that.
Right, which is just their mashup of the Frederick Douglass power concedes nothing without a fight. Right.
But that's what we're in the process of, right? It's sort of this fight for control of the party, and it's not instantaneous, and it is a process, and it's a base building, strength building, and frankly, the strength of the Democratic Socialist platform within the Democratic Party is not yet strong enough to control the party. And while it is getting stronger, it's not there yet.
Right.
And,
but so they're doing everything they can to kill the little baby chick before it gets strong enough to take over the party. And I don't think that's wise. It's what's interesting?
Right.
I had a conversation with off the air with Congresswoman Maxine Waters. She didn't tell me it was off the record, so I feel safe saying it. Which I think it was about 5 years ago, actually. We had this conversation, and she said within 5 to 10 years, the progressive wing of the Democratic Party will become dominant. And I think we're watching it happen. Unless, I think they snuffed it out when they snuffed out Bernie, and replaced and gave Hillary that nomination, right? And they co-opted it when Biden won. I don't know if they're going to be able to snuff it out this time.
Interesting. Snuff it out is one thing. The question is there a candidate that represents that portion that's going to take the nomination, right?
You're talking about president.
Right, and that's kind of the defining marker, right? Like if you get a candidate that's progressive and that's the marker.
Yeah, but if we could get Democratic Socialists, of which, by the way, I do identify as one myself. I think everyone that listens to me knows that from Bernie days. But if we could get a Democratic Socialist wave that takes over state houses the way that Republicans have taken over state houses, even if we didn't win the presidency, it would be incredibly impactful. Fahim is in the chat saying that maybe you were talking about Contract with America, or as my dad used to call it, the Contract on America, the Newt Gingrich Dick Armey document.
Right. Yeah, whatever they were talking about, but they were, but again, on that example, that did take over waves of state houses as well. And while I think we've seen candidates, win increasing number, you haven't seen a wave yet. And that is kind of the interesting point. Once I think the Democratic Socialist platform gets to a point where they can run not just 4 or 5 candidates in a cycle, and it's really more of a slate of candidates that are designed to elect a block that can elect the speaker and sort of control the legislature. We're still going to be in this conversation, and while they garner a lot of news and coverage, the actual power is not there. And
Mayor of New York is not a nothing.
Well, you're saying the mayor of New York. That's not the governor of New York. That's not the state issues in New York.
It's clearly a momentum. I mean, if you would have told me somebody with his platform and personal politics would be able to win in New York, if you'd have told me that 5 years ago, I would have thought you were on drugs.
Oh, same. It's wildly impressive.
Yeah, well, I recognize your point. I do think that we're seeing a little wave, little mini wave.
It's starting. It's good, and I don't mean to sound condescending on it, right? Like it's not that. It's we're at a point in time, and there is a continuum that we'll see this conversation play out on. I think for us, and I think for listeners on this show, the real question is the issues that we care most about. Which candidates are willing to voice, solutions to that, and not just voice solutions, then work to enact them. And we could point at the establishment Democratic Party and say, yeah, maybe there's some issues. There are a lot of issues there, but we also need some clarity from the Democratic Socialist Party. Whether or not, and this extends particularly to candidates that aren't African American, right? I think I'm more concerned with a new wave of Democrats that come in and sort of the same lip service is paid to our issues.
Yeah, well, that's another reason why, a lot of times black folks line up with the centrists within the party because they're the known brands. We'll continue this conversation when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
Just in case you missed our Procrastination Crenshaw Town Hall.
While Gavin was telling the story about the mural at LAX, I kid you not, Gavin, somebody just texted me a photo of it. See, this is unacceptable. That inside of LAX, they have a mural. These gorgeous, beautiful pictures of Destination Crenshaw. It don't look nothing like this. We don't know when they're going to restart or when they're going to finish, but they're marketing and promoting this inside of LAX. It's not right, y'all. It's just not right. You can't exploit us in that way, right? Get the project done, then you can brag about it. But can we finish it first?
Keeping them in check. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. At the heart of the Al Wooten Center's mission for good citizenship and academic excellence is a desire to ensure that every student avoids the kind of lifestyle and overcomes the kinds of challenges that led to the murder of Al Wooten Jr. In 1990, founder Myrtle Fay Rumpf opened the center in honor of her son's life. In 2026, they are serving more than 300 students in grades 3 through 12 annually online and on site at their youth center and other sites in the South LA area. The Al Wooten Jr. Youth Center takes a neighborhood approach to the revitalization and empowerment of a community in crisis. The Wooten Center provides free after-school and summer programs to help students in grades 3 through 12 attain grade-level proficiency and promotion, high school graduation, and college and career access and success. The Al Wooten Center focuses on academics, STEM, the arts, and so much more. Join them for an enriching experience that sparks creativity and nurtures young minds. Tap in at wootencenter.org. That's wootencenter.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
Ed Sanders, thank you so much for jumping in the clutch today. I know you got to go do that thing that you do that makes you the president of E.S. Advisors. So you're going to have to leave me a little bit early today. But typically, you've got at least one campaign up your sleeve. Want to, hand you the last couple minutes we have with you to talk about what you will, or even just tell people how to follow you.
No, even more so, I wanted to give a shout out to Miles sitting off mic today. But on the commercial earlier, I want to just lift him up in the Do Better Network and the Do Better Show. Really proud of him launching the show. Looking forward to listening to Saturdays going forward. And it's a lot of information, a lot of conversation. I think is going to be helpful to folks.
Yeah, I congratulate you too, Miles. What people don't know is that Miles had his own radio show in Las Vegas years and years and years ago. So he's a veteran. Congrats, Miles. And Ed Sanders, you can find him on the tweets. Not that he even be on social media, but when he is, he's at Edward M. Sanders. Ed, thank you once again. Always appreciate you coming through in the clutch.
Good deal. Talk to you soon. Thanks.
Absolutely. The woman that I was talking about is in Madison, Wisconsin, is Representative Francesca Hong, and she's a member of the Democratic Socialists of America. She is behind in fundraising, but appears to be ahead in polling, and that's a race that will happen next week. So again, to Ed's point, it's true, Democratic Socialists don't have power nationally, don't have the power in the party yet, but let's keep in mind that there are plenty of progressives who do not identify as Democratic Socialists or DSA, but would ally with those folks to create a progressive bloc. And although it is not yet strong enough to maybe elect a presidential candidate, although we'll see, that's 2 years off, it's definitely getting stronger every single day. And I think Congresswoman Waters' prediction is unfolding before our eyes, which is that a lot of these folks are young, some not, but a lot of these are young folks, and they have been preparing for this for quite some time. They've been fed up with the party establishment. They've been fed up with money controlling politics. And they can see, and the Gaza, the terror in Gaza, the terrible, terrible situation there, has not only highlighted the priorities, the bad and toxic priorities of the Democratic and Republican parties in this country. It has also highlighted the fact that how does a country like Israel have money to do Medicare for all, but we, the United States of America, one of the richest countries in the world, do not, while we have plenty of money to send weapons and bombs to other countries, we don't have money to give health care to our own. This is an issue that I think is resonating across the aisle. And so we shall see. I think if moderate Democrats don't, come on board or get out the way, they may find themselves eventually, maybe not 2026, maybe not 2028, but soon come, overrun. All right, phone lines are open. We will talk to you after news, traffic, and sports. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Island with BIN News Now. An FBI report says active shooter accidents are increasing in the U.S. The FBI says that in 2025 there were 34 total active shooter incidents. The FBI says in 2025 there were 34 total active shooter incidents. Authorities say 2 suspects have been arrested in Peru in connection with the death of an American Airlines flight attendant based in Dallas, Texas. Investigators say Eric Molina disappeared during a layover in Colombia in March, and his body was found several days later. Authorities say the suspects are members of a Colombian gang that targets foreign visitors. A Tennessee death row inmate wants a federal court to allow a private religious confession before his scheduled execution. John Michael Bain and his spiritual advisor filed a lawsuit arguing state prison policies